The United Nations climate talks in Madrid have come to an end with a compromise deal. The conference endorsed declaration on a quote-unquote urgent need to close the gap between existing emissions pledges and temperature goals of the Paris Climate Agreement, with discussions that lasted over 12 days, 2 days extra, making it the longest but ultimately fruitless climate negotiation on record. The delegates reached a partial agreement on the key questions of increasing global response to curbing carbon emissions. The decision on how to regulate global carbon markets has been postponed until next year. No consensus was arrived at this time around. The countries need to put new climate pledges on the table by the next conference, which is to be held in Glasgow.
Regretfully, after all the hard work that you have all done, we couldn't get to an agreement on this important article.
Despite all the efforts, it is my sincere regret that we were not able to reach an agreement on Article 6. Although gaps still remain, let me emphasize that market mechanisms are crucial instruments for raising ambition and promoting actions against climate emergency.
A push for greater ambition was supported by the EU and the small island member nations. Other countries like the US, Brazil, India and China opposed the plan. The agreement included a new and improved carbon cutting plan. It also called for addressing the gap between science and current state of play. This year's round of annual United Nations talks focused on technical issues like workings of global carbon markets. This is where the concept of carbon credit comes in. What is carbon credit and how does it work? Carbon credit is a tradable permit or certificate that provides the holders the right to emit 1 ton of carbon dioxide. It aims at reducing the emission of greenhouse gases from industrial activities. Governments and regulatory authorities keep the cap on greenhouse gas emissions. When reduction of emissions is not economically viable, the companies can purchase additional carbon credits to comply with the emission cap set. Companies that achieve their goal are rewarded. This aims at reducing the effects of global warming. Economists consider carbon markets crucial in providing incentives for the world to move towards low-carbon growth models. This remained one of the major issues. Many countries from Europe and elsewhere said that no deal on how to govern the exchange of carbon credits was better than a weak one that could have undermined the existing regional carbon mechanisms. Meanwhile, the UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres expressed his disappointment after delegates failed to reach any deal. The UN chief called it a missed opportunity to tackle the global warming crisis. He said, and I'm quoting, "The international community has lost an important opportunity to show increased ambition on mitigation, adaptation, and finance to tackle the climate crisis."